This is the Hunt Quietly podcast. I'm Matt Ranella. You know that song, Video Killed the Radio
Star. That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, brother.
I'm not getting anywhere with this podcast, even without the video, but that would be the coup de grace.
Yeah, I think you would be light years ahead, right? I don't know, man. I've done some podcasts with folks that they do have like a video component, and so I just never know. Like, okay, what do I have to like? Do I have to put some pants on, or what do I need to do, right, in order to keep things straight? Because, man, I mean, when I'm at home in the office, you know how it is. You try to be comfortable, and you just never know who's watching. So yeah, I always have to ask.
Yeah, what state do you live in?
Man, I'm in Kentucky. I'm in the state where we have more barrels of bourbon than we have people. Think about that.
Yeah, that is crazy to think about. How many people?
Yep. Oh God, man, too many. Too many.
But that's really
I don't know.
true.
Yeah, that is technically true. I've been to many meetings trying to drive like white oak forest and trying to maintain some of that in the past, and literally that little factoid always popped up at all the meetings. Like
You
we
have
have
at
more
least
barrels of bourbon.
you have at least 4.6 million barrels of bourbon because you have 4.58 million people.
Yeah, and I totally believe that because I may have one in my living room just for backup. Okay, I mean it's like a go-to. It's like in Italy, right? Everyone has like barrels of wine, etc. Well, we just have barrels of bourbon. That's what we do.
You own a barrel of bourbon?
I feel like I do, man. I mean, I drink a little bit of it. I mean, I try to support the resource, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
You try to support the local economy.
I do, man. I do. I mean, it's all majority of it's made here in Kentucky, so yeah, I definitely do. But no, it's always been an interesting fact, and just being out to some of these places and concerns of white oak. I know we're not here to talk about white oak, but it is really interesting. Have you ever heard of the White Oak Initiative?
No.
Okay. So some random Eastern facts for you. Random knowledge is always good, right? But down the highway, this might be an investment, right? You may want to consider investing in bourbon here soon. But in about 20-ish years, when you start looking at cohorts of trees, and with a little bit of modeling involved, there's a concern there's going to be an absence of mature trees in about 20 years, just looking at, growth data and stuff with the U.S. Forest Service, et cetera, across the eastern United States. And there's maybe a little bit of a limit of barrels. And knowing that barrels, basically white oak, is pretty much the only species because of porosity, right, that is used. Well, there's another one here, but
I
it's
didn't know
sometimes just
that.
used for
This is
lids.
all new
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
okay. Crazy facts. I mean, maybe stuff we don't need to talk about, but it is interesting though that
No, man,
like
I
in
don't
20
want this to
years.
always talk about. There's no. I'm trying to have it be that the hunting advocacy component is, a theme, the theme.
Yeah.
But we can talk about whatever. You don't need to worry about going off script. We got a lot of
Okay, cool,
white
man.
oak where I grew up in Michigan.
Michigan. Yep. Yep. Yeah. So it's interesting, man. There's going to be like this shortage. And so there's a lot of folks, of course, in industry and really in the wildlife arena too, that come together and said, hey, this could be an issue one day. You think about the gypsy moth up north, that's causing issues. We have something new that was found over in Missouri with, it's almost like sudden oak death of white oaks, which is scary as hell. And so,
Do they know what the
white oaks,
causal agent of that is?
they do not, man. It has not been figured out. And I got to go on site with a bunch of people years ago, and we're looking. I'm like, holy moly! It reminds me of, being down in like a pine stand, right? Where bugs or something starts to creep in, and the next thing you know, you just have this rapid mortality, and no one's really put their finger on it yet. But it's concerns, man. I mean, what do you do if this yummy thing that is great for the liquids we drink, but more importantly, from a wildlife perspective, like white oaks is almost like a keystone species. It's known to harbor over 500 wildlife species, moths, butterflies, bats, you name it. And of course, as we know, it has the lowest tannins of any of the acorn species out there. And so
Right, like
everything
squirrels
favors a
will
white oak.
prefer it. Squirrels and deer prefer that to red oak, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting, man. So yeah, there's a lot of folks in the bourbon industry and organizations that started coming together talking about this, going, man, we may want to do something. We may want to start addressing this now, especially with these, external threats going on that no one can really get completely figured out. So
Yes. Okay, so it seems to me that if white oak is starting to suffer, then bourbon barrels should be a low priority
yeah.
because there's just a lot of good alcoholic beverages out there. Like there's none of them. There's none of them I don't like. You know.
Well, it's pretty interesting, man. Like some of the folks in the like the barrel industry, they've evolved from going, hey, instead of doing another barrel, they're taking wood to divide into like chips, into even it almost looks like man, just like a soft fiber, right? And so whatever you want to think about, but they've decided that they could reuse some barrels and basically take this wood all the way down and basically use it to finish out whether you're doing wine or bourbon or whatever it may be, in order to better conserve the resource. And so it's a very innovative approach. And there's really only one barrel company that's doing this because they're thinking about, okay, how do we try to conserve this? There's this big demand, worldwide demand, man. I mean, if we go over to Europe, there's French white oak does the same thing. It's great, and they're trying to conserve that resource, but there's a lot of emphasis on white oak here. Very sustainable if managed correctly. But if more people want to drink, if there's more people in the world, there's just going to be a bigger need for these products. And so, yeah,
So you can
takes a
have
lot of
like
forethought.
a particle board bourbon barrel.
Pretty much, man. It's pretty cool. They actually they reuse the barrel, right? And they put this inside the barrel. And what it does, it helps finish it out. And so you use it's surface area, right? So the more surface area that touches the liquid, it makes things happen. And so it's pretty interesting. There's a whole science to all that as well. I feel like you could get like a PhD in white oak in barrels alone.
Yeah, yeah, huh? Yeah. So I was interested in having you on. Somebody made me aware of you guys, and we're not going to dwell on this at all. I noticed that people in the hunting sphere don't like to talk negatively about other people in the hunting sphere, hunting people or hunting groups or and people and individuals. But just for those of you listening, you know, we did my group did a little bit of research on National Wild Turkey Federation a while back, and we have some problems with that organization. So when I found out there was another turkey focused organization, I was keen to hear what you guys do to provide people an alternative. If you want, dear listeners, if you want to hear about our concerns about NWTF, you could listen to episode 145 of the Hunt Quietly podcast. So with that, that's a little bit about the impetus. Plus, I just think you're an interesting fella, Jason, after chatting with you on the phone, and I want to hear about what you guys are doing for turkeys. So I don't know what where the best places to begin. I guess with you personally, how did you end up working for a turkey conservation nonprofit? I want to talk about that, like how you ended up where you are, and
Sure.
and then I want to hear about what you guys are focused on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So they call me the mutt of the southeast, man. I mean, I'm like an old dog that's pissed on a lot of trees, and so I've been around.
No white oaks
I
though.
work for, yeah, well, maybe one or two, man, because that's where I like to sit, man.
Oh,
That's
so
where the
people are
critters are
tripping
going
and
to
burping.
be.
There could be Jason Lupardus
Absolutely,
urine in
man.
there.
Hey, man, listen. I'm going to tame a spot or two, maybe to run some people off. They'll think it's like a big wildcat or something, right? Like down here, the myth that the Black Panther will not go away, and they're like, "Oh, it's another Black Panther. Stay away. We smell him." So yeah, but no, man. I cut my teeth in East Tennessee, in college, man. I bleed a lot of orange, right? And we've been bleeding for years, but went and got my undergrad there, got my graduate degree there. Worked on the elk reintroduction in the Cumberland Mountains, which is really cool. Doing a lot of
Who were you
habitat type
working?
work.
Who were you working for when you worked on that?
Dr. Lisa Muller.
Okay, so you were working for the university.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
absolutely. So I got to spend a lot of mountain time, which was fantastic, and then went into a state agency job after that run. And I mean, I was on and off. I worked over with the Park Service a little bit. I trapped bears, black bears, over in Cades Cove in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, and
Problem
uh,
bears?
oh man, most of it was under Dr. Pelton's long-term research project when it used to
Okay.
be all hands on, which is really cool. So we tagged a ton of bears. I think when I left there, I had trapped a little over 100 bears, which was pretty cool. I
Wow.
could write like a short story book of being an adrenaline junkie catching bears, because you catch a bear and then no one's around, and back in the day we didn't have like a dart gun, it was a jab stick, right? So you step into the circle of death to try to jab a bear, put it
Oh
down
wait,
for a
so
bit.
this is not like a box trap,
No, not at all.
foothold trap.
Yeah, buddy. Leg snares. I only caught one on the hind foot. Everything else is front foot, which is what you want, because, bears are like boxers. If they're on their hind feet, you are screwed. They can reach out, touch you real quick, and you don't know what that death circle is. And so you don't want to catch them on the hind foot. So front foot keeps them down, tag them, take all kinds of measurements and stuff, right? But yeah, if there's a problem bear, we can handle that as well. And so it's pretty cool, man. A lot of backcountry stuff, and a lot of hard days, man. I mean, you get up and it might be pouring down raining, and you're still going to hike that 10 miles up the mountain with 50 pounds of gear on your back and make it happen.
Oh wow. So you can get 10
Yeah.
miles from a road there.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, it was fun, man. So anyway, went for state agency for a bit down in Georgia DNR, as a private lands biologist, man. So got to learn what the states and things did, but I was basically
That's an
covering like,
interesting distinction. They have
yeah,
public and private land biologists.
yep, yep. I was the
How is that a
only
distinction
private
that
dude.
carves nature?
I was the only private land biologist, okay, in the whole southern half of the state. We had a couple quail guys, but so it's just me going and meeting with a lot of people, and the majority of Georgia is privately owned. And man, I had like a waiting list of people, just like, hey, we need help. What do we do? Need help. What do I talk to? What do I need to do with this? Or, imagine anything. I mean, I had from a gopher tortoise, like I had a guy's like, I want to manage gopher tortoises. I said, fantastic. Let's manage gopher tortoises. Um,
Gopher tortoises?
yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's an endangered turtle or a threatened turtle.
Well, in some places, yes, it is a listed species. Hmm.
And you had a guy reach out and say, "Hey, I'm concerned about the plight of the gopher tortoise. Can you tell me
Yeah,
how to?"
man. Yep.
So, what would one do if one wanted to manage for a gopher tortoise?
Man, think about it. It's just like other typical management regimes. We're down in the coastal plain United States. What used to be a dominated longleaf, shortleaf pine, system, and literally thinned out forest, open ground, and just keeping it managed on a periodic prescribed fire regime is pretty much like I could tell that to almost every landowner wanting to manage for most anything, right? And yeah, and so managing around those gopher tortoise holes, making sure there's nothing going on the holes themselves, and then working with that landowner or landowners in this case to on some agreements, man, on what they could do. So it's pretty interesting, man. So a person wanting to manage for tortoises is really managing pretty similar how you'd manage for bobwhite or for turkeys
I see.
or to a degree for deer or whatever it is.
Yeah. What would you want to make sure was going on around the hole?
It's crazy. So these burrows, man, can extend for tens to hundreds of yards. Okay. It's crazy. So a burrow, it may go, 50, 75 yards in one direction or curl around. And so you don't want that compaction on those burrows, right? And around it. So trying to buffer around those burrow sites just to keep those, because if equipment or something goes over it, man, they're pretty much, they may be cashed out.
So
You're
there's
talking
more
about
than one
usually.
turtle in the or tortoise in the burrow.
Yeah, and usually there's some other things like indigo snakes or the big favorite, the eastern diamondback, right?
They all cohabitate in the same burrow.
Yeah, it's not like they're just hanging out beside each other, but yeah, one may be over here going,
Oh,
"Hey man,
that's
I like this
interesting.
wing," and this one's over here eating up this wing. So it's totally different, man. A different kind of
Yeah.
management, but yeah, pretty unique
Yeah.
place to be.
Don't snakes of different species all winter together, and they'll even ball up together for like heat? Isn't that
I
right?
think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm just not into that, man. I'm just not into snakes. Even though I've picked a few up and checked some out, but yeah, it's pretty crazy
No,
down
I
there.
wouldn't want them to go extinct or anything, but I'm not a snake guy either.
Yeah, I mean, I may have eaten one or two just to. I mean, it's one of those things you grow up on the land and I think you try just about everything at least
Hmm.
once, and
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's just a lot of work and not a lot of meat for what you get out of a snake, but
You need a bigger
if I
snake.
absolutely, like those Florida pythons, that might be the way to go,
Yeah.
right?
I've eaten some rattlesnakes, but yeah, it was almost like I couldn't tell what was really going on flavor wise because there just wasn't enough meat there to get a solid bite, you know.
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, agreed, man. Agreed. Got to marinate, man. Got to marinate.
Marinate your snakes. It'd be fun.
Man,
It'd
you
be good to
marinate it
try.
all, right?
It'd be good to try a big one though. I bet they're good. I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard
I
good
agree.
things. I mean, even a big rattlesnake, the two or three I ate were just small. If I ever found a big one,
Yep,
I got a
yep.
story about. All right. Oh, should I tell you this story? Yeah, I bet tell you this, and then we can move on to your orchid. But this story's like a Greek myth. Um, I was hunting one time. I paddled my canoe across the Missouri River to hunt for elk, and so I was a long way from anywhere. And uh, I'm walking along one day, and there's this rattlesnake crawling along the ground, and he was pretty big one. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna see if I can get him and eat him because it was a little bigger than the other ones I'd tried. And he starts going into a hole, or as it turns out, she. And as soon as her head goes in the hole, I pick up a big rock and throw it right behind her head. And her head shoots down the hole and pops out another hole. Detach
What?
the pressure, and it comes out
Holy moly!
and lands on the ground. And I'm like, okay, I'm safe now to pull the snake out of here. So I start pulling on her, and they must have those scales must allow them to like expand them and like they
The muscle memory is what I'm thinking is about to happen here.
yeah expand the scales, and then you're pulling the opposite direction. And she's pretty hard to I'm not making any progress. And eventually I pull her in half. I rip her in half. And when
Holy
I
moly.
do, a baby rattlesnake falls out of her and starts striking at me.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, it's like a 6-inch rattlesnake. It's laying there striking at me. And I look
Holy
over,
moly.
and what I thought was the head that came off and shot out the hole
Yeah.
was another baby rattlesnake. This all happened super fast.
Uh,
And it's striking at me. They're just so tiny they can't. It's like
yeah.
a worm striking at you. So I had
Yeah.
been pulling on a rattlesnake that still had its head on.
Dude, you got really lucky on that one.
Oh, I dropped that half a rattlesnake and just walked away.
Oh,
I no longer wanted anything to do with the situation. But it's just like the creepiest experience I've ever had.
oh, dude. That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is just because I'm not a very alert person, Any
Yeah. Yeah.
that wasn't a moron would have looked over and been like, "Oh, what just flew out over there?" And I don't know how that happened. Like I threw the rock and I thought it knocked its head off, but maybe it had a baby rattlesnake in its mouth or something. I don't know.
Well, no, man. That's one of those. It'd be great if you could just hit replay and watch it again and go,
Mhm.
okay, I see how this worked now.
Yeah.
Because unless you're there, most people are like, man, I'm never going to believe that. But
Oh,
when
that's
that's
the
just,
craziest story
I mean,
ever.
it's just crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know rattlesnakes, man. I mean, I've been around a few, um, and it's always something different. And I'll talk about one time I was on the trap line trapping bears, and we're up in the Smokies going up the trail. I had this young lady with me, and I'm like, oh, cool, look at this big old rattlesnake, big timber rattler, right? And so it ended up being a male female. They're basically breeding and just kind of chill, really both tremendous. I got a picture of me holding both of them up, just kind of
You
doing
went
their
over and picked
thing.
them up?
Well, with the stick, man, and then when they got
Oh,
pretty comfortable, I kind of pulled them apart and just I got them hung up in both arms, right, or both hands, well out away from me,
yeah.
and man, they're like, and I'm not a tall dude, I'm vertically challenged, like 5'11", but man,
Oh,
these
that's not
snakes were like
short.
I mean, these snakes were to the ground, man. And I'm like, dang, these are about 6 footers. I'm holding them up. And so get some pictures, back in the day, it wasn't like a cell phone. We're like snapping old school and put them down. And then we going up the trail, trap a few bears. And then we get back down. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to check this tree just to see if they're still here. And I'm like very cautious. And I'm like, oh, well, the female's still here. And then another male come in, a smaller one. And he was, listen, this little dude, he must have thought he was like 6'10", bodybuilder, the whole 9 yards. But as soon as we come up, he went into motion. And man, what I've noticed with most rattlesnakes, unless you just really screwing with them, they're pretty chill. And but this guy, he went straight into mode. He's just rat a tat tatting, and I'm like, whoa! And then all of
So
a
there's
sudden, it's just like
3
boom,
rattlers right next to each
yeah,
other, and
yeah,
he's
yeah,
fronting.
man. Yeah, he's fronting like, "Hey, this is my lady. Don't come near." And I'm like, "Holy crap!" And so we just eased around. I'm like, "Man, I'm glad this one wasn't here earlier because there wouldn't have been no way to pick any of this up and get some cool pictures, some wildlife."
Right, right.
But yeah, man, it's interesting, man. Rattlesnakes are terrible, but yeah, I spent some time down in South Georgia, man, and then I
I
left
gotta
there,
ask
and
now, I gotta ask
yeah,
because it's just
yeah,
it's eating me up. Could you explain the bear set, the snare set, how
yeah, man. And so, man, I wish I could like bring up a. Hold on a second. I may even have something. Hold on a second. I'll show you real quick. No one can see, but yeah, it's not one of my traps. But anywho, can you see that? It's like back in the day, man.
ladies and gentlemen, he is holding a bear. That bear is anesthetized, right?
Yep,
I would hope.
yep.
And you're
That one,
kind of
yeah,
snuggled up with him.
absolutely. Snuggled up, yeah. I smelled like total, ass. But yeah, so some of these were blind sets. So we get on these bear trails, and if anyone bear hunts, you'll notice that bears, they'll basically step in the tracks of other bears. And so you'll see their little round shapes going on a trail. It looks like a deer trail.
Why do
And
they
so
do
we're,
that? I mean, that's a hard question to answer, but
man, there's a lot of theory to that. But I think it's like a safety thing. They know where to step. It's comfortable. They got these big pads. Um, it's that's just some theory and thought. I don't know how many times we talked about it while we're eating huckleberries, getting ready to set another trap. But you always see that. So it's at basically it's just a step over, and would have some kind of scent out, like a berry scent, sometimes sardine cans, whatever. So they come down the trail, step in it, boom. But the smart bears have been trapped before.
they'll step in the
Typically,
snare, then they go to take their next step. It cinches
yep,
down on them.
Yep. So it's basically we dig out a hole. Okay. Dig out a hole. We cut some little sticks, put it with leaves, sift dirt. When they step through, it breaks and basically snare pulls, and then it
Oh,
catches. And then we basically have a catch on it, okay, to keep a small cub from being caught.
oh.
That doesn't always work. We tested some methods, and I will say catching a cub. And at that time, man, you catch a cub and we couldn't tranquilize a cub. So
Plus,
in order,
mom's standing there untrapped.
dude, dude, okay. So let me just tell you. So there's a bunch of different traps with set. There's one, and I'll talk about, this is crazy. I'll talk about that. Like I'd sit in camp, man. I'm sitting by myself and I'm cutting like punji sticks, right? Like this looks like some Vietnam warfare. And in some of these smart bears that have been trapped before, and we're trying to get like a radio collar back on a female, right? And wanting to track her. There's this one in Parsons Branch. She was just the ultimate, like, no one could trap this bear. I'm like, I'm going to trap this bear. So I sat down for like 5 hours cutting punji sticks, man. Vietnam warfare. And so you get out there, and if you step here, you're gonna put a hole through yourself, right? So I'm trying to make this bear step in these little pockets, and it's like a tic-tac-toe board, okay? And then I basically like got a piece of string, threw a can up, and I got a sardine can hanging up above all this. So I'm trying to get her to step in here and figure out like, okay, maybe the random one I'm gonna catch her. Well, come to find out what she would do, she'd come and she'd rake everything out with her paw. So she'd rake sideways, scoop it all up, get the can. We watched her one day, man, with her cubs. So now she's teaching them what to do. I mean, it's crazy. So never caught that bear. Sometimes she'd be sitting on the tree waiting for me. I'm like, really? And I'm just like, let me just open the sardine can and give it to you because this sucks. But she was like 23 years old at that time, and it still had like an old radio collar on her that was dead. And I'm like, man, I just want to replace it. We want to get up in that tree because these bears primarily denned in top of trees, right?
Mhm.
Like oaks and stuff that had heart
Oh,
rot.
I didn't know they did that. They den
Oh,
up
dude,
in a
like eight.
tree.
Oh, like 80% of those bears up in the Smokies, man, were up in trees, not in the ground. And so we'd come back,
I've never heard the likes of such. I did
oh,
not know
dude,
that happened.
it's pretty epic. And so going back and tracking them, we're old school with the antenna and stuff, and we, climb up half a mountain and we're like, oh, that's the tree. And basically have like a recurve bow and arrow. We shoot a rope up, climb up the tree, and then tag her from above, put her out, pull the cubs out, go through the whole 9 yards. Boom. It's crazy.
And you did that with this 23-year-old bear?
No, never, never,
You never
never.
did catch her.
I sucked, man. I
How
I
did
didn't
you
make it happen.
how would you find out where they were, what tree they were in?
So, I mean, the bears that were radio tagged. I mean,
Okay,
we
okay,
basically
gotcha.
telemetry. Yep, telemetry. And it was old school, man. So be flying above and then basically to the ground and walking in, triangulating on them. So pretty similar how I did elk work, but yeah, it was a lot of work, man. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just a lot of
Oh
hands-on
yeah.
stuff and seeing all kinds of crazy things. I mean, I
Yeah.
still
That
remember coming to a trap site and I'm like, oh man, look at this huge bear. It's awesome. Big bear. Now I had this guy with me and it was his first time on trap line. He'd play football in college, just a big dude, big stout guy. He couldn't hike the hills worth the flip, but we get up there and he's like, "Oh man, it's the biggest bear." I'm like, "Yeah, man, this is awesome." So I'm down there and I'm looking. I'm like, "Man, this bear, the cable was frayed really bad." So I'm assessing the situation. I'm going, "Okay, this is not good." And the bear's mouth was bloody. He had been chewing on this thing. Okay, I'm like, "God, this is going to be kind of touchy." And so I get back and I'm telling the dude, I'm like, "Okay," I said, "This is summertime bear, man." So I'm like, "All right, this bear's between 250, 300 pounds, you know." I said, "So we got to max out the dosage." And I said, "You want to jab him?" He's like, "Hell no, it's all for you." And I said, "All right, I got this." So we get down there and it's on the slope, man. And so this bear had been tagged before. It had an old ear tag in, okay? And so you just pick up on all these things like, okay, this is an educated bear. And so I'm down here with the jab stick. So when I showed up with the silver jab stick, he was ready to rip my head off. So
Oh,
he's
he knew
running.
that.
Yeah, and so the good thing about these leg snares is it's an Aldridge leg snare, which basically we had it's car hood springs that were on there in order to give a little bit of play. So when he come running
Yep.
out, it wouldn't dislocate a joint or any of this jazz.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
so I'm on the downhill side. I remember standing beside this big black oak, and I'm right outside the circle of death, right? So the circle of death is where this dude's been running. But then you got to think about he's still got forearm length that can go outside of that. So you still have like 2.5, 3 feet that you got to be careful because he can reach out and touch you. And so you're calculating where I can step, where I can jab.
How
I
long's
told
your
the other guy
stick?
3 foot.
Oh, why can't it be like a pike phalanx, like a
It,
12
it's
foot?
You know what? That's a great question. We always ask, well, why aren't they longer? Like, this is what we have. I'm like, all
Oh,
right, 3 foot it is. And
okay.
so you have to be a little bit stupid, right? A little bit crazy, but just loving it, right? And so we get up there and I said, "Hey man, distract the bear." And he's a big guy. And he's waving and hollering. The bear just kind of looks at him and he runs up the hill once and just runs at him, swats, misses. Comes back down at me, full run, just popping the jaws. Boom. The tree's just wavering. I'm like, dang. I was like,
Oh,
okay. I said, and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna let him get back up. He's gonna come around, and when he turns again, I'm gonna because you want to jab him in the hip, right? You want to get in that meaty flesh.
okay.
And so I'm like, all right, this is the game plan. So I game planned it. When he come down the second time, coming at me, the cable snaps. And dude, this was like a Matrix moment. If you've ever watched the
Oh,
Matrix, okay. And I didn't know I could move this fast, but this bear is like in my face, and I just did this quick. I mean, it rubbed against me, and I'm just like moving out of the way, and it boof, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of shocked, but he just keeps on going. Thank God. And so when he broke, he went straight down the hill, and I could still feel the bear on me, right? And I turn around, and I'm like, where where'd my compadre go? And so I'm yelling at this guy, and he ran the other way. He's scared to death, left me. And
oh,
so, which is the first thing you're not supposed to do, right? You're supposed to stay there in case there's something happens. And anywho, man, but yeah, I mean, the bear line was, man, it was intense, but I loved it. I mean, I'd wake up, be raining, and be like, let's go. We're going to get a bear
did you
today.
ever trap that bear after that?
We did not. We had to because it may have had a little bit of snare left on its arm. We had to measure it out. Park Service was freaking out. We had to
Oh,
inundate that area with a bunch of traps. Okay, and
mm-hmm.
so I had to put extra time, effort into this area just to try to trap. Now I caught a lot of bears there, a lot of bears, but never saw that bear again. And I'm pretty
They wanted you to
confident.
trap him and get that chunk off of
Yeah,
him.
just in case it was still on there. And I was like, I said, I think it was so tight, he probably just pulled it right off because it snapped. And it was right where the little angle iron is, right? So I was like, that thing is probably going to come right off. So anywho, just one of many bear stories, man.
Yeah. One last question, and then
Yeah,
I
man.
want to hear about turkeys for tomorrow. What were you guys trying to learn with the
Man,
bear trapping?
yeah, right on. So a lot of this was a capture recapture study and seeing bear movement. A lot of it was genetics. And then I think about a year after I was out, they started setting up the barbed wire fences, and put bait in just to capture
Hair.
genetics, just to see. Yep. just to see how these bears were moving, landscape, with the females determining where these females were basically denning. And so they learned a lot over the number of years, like, hey, these bears just don't den on the ground like we thought. Most of them are in trees. This is how many, this is the average litter size for these bears. So it was a lot of, common ground knowledge and what was going on with bears. And, when I jumped on this project, it was on the tail end of where just nearby in Gatlinburg, where they're having all these bear issues, man. All these bears coming to Gatlinburg, people feeding them, and then when the lady got killed, right,
No,
which
no,
was like
you no, you say that like I should know, but I don't know.
okay, okay, so when this lady, um, he was out basically, her and her kids. Okay, she's got a
What
video
year are
camera,
we
like old
talking?
school. Oh man, this is like I think the '80s, man. This has been
Okay.
a while back, '80s and the early '90s, and old school video camera. She's basically like chasing a bear. I may have the dates wrong, but she's chasing this bear, and literally, it's a female with cubs. Okay, and so the female finally just stops, turns around, and gives the warning. First is
Why
snapping the
is she
jaws.
chasing it? To get it
Video
away from
camera,
her
man.
kids, or
No,
no,
no, no,
she's
no, no, no. She is walking after it, getting video, man, like
okay.
old school video camera. Like the closer I get, the better it is, right? Which is never a good thing, especially with a big, large predator. And so she's honing in on this bear, and I'm pretty sure it was around Sugarlands. It's like the big touristy kind of area where everything comes together, right outside of Gatlinburg. Okay, minutes out of Gatlinburg. She goes after this bear, following it with the kids. Oh, we're gonna video picture it. And so the bear turns around and literally gives the warning, pops the jaws. Well, it kind of hesitated her, but when she reacted and decided that she needed to run, that triggered that predator instinct. The bear chased her down, puts her on the ground, and she's got the video camera. It falls to the side. The bear basically rips the lady's stomach open and starts eating her alive. Okay,
Oh,
kid,
can
it's
you see
terrible.
this in the footage?
Yes, it's never been shown publicly. Okay, they were
Oh, this
showing
is
this
like a
at the bear
Timothy
meetings.
Treadwell moment.
Oh, dude, it's not cool, man. So after
Oh,
that,
thank God it's never
after
been
that,
showed. I mean,
yeah,
that's just
it's that kind of stuff doesn't need to be shown,
no,
man. But
no.
what happened is all these people that thought it was cool to feed bears, bring them in, they want to try to touch them, all this junk, right? And there was all these conflicts going on. So after that, it was like we have to remove bears out of Gatlinburg, and we need to get bear-proof garbage cans, and we need to do all these methods. And so overnight, man, hundreds of bears. It wasn't overnight, but over a series of months, ended up getting euthanized. They get trapped once, and they had a one term, one chance. Once you're trapped and moved, if you come back, you're done. And so a lot of bears got euthanized just because of those negative interactions, which really people caused, right? People are feeding them, they're attracting them to hotels. People want them outside the restaurant so they could watch them. I mean, it was a disaster, right? A
Yeah.
total disaster. And people were utilizing bears to basically try to bring in business and end up
Oh,
causing a lot of
no
bear
kidding.
deaths. Yeah,
That's
man.
wild.
Yep. Yep.
When I was a
Yep.
little
Yep.
kid,
It's a big deal.
one people we would go to, and a lot of people would go to dumps to watch the bears.
Yep. Yep. That was it. So yeah, man, a lot of things changed, and there's research going on the side, and then it was like, whoa, are these bears being down in this area? And so there are other things that were being looked at with those human dimensions as well, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah. When did Turkeys for Tomorrow start? When was it formed?
All right, so we are officially with the 501(c)(3), 4 years and a few months old, so to speak, February.
And are you
So
like a founder of it?
nope, I am not.
Okay,
I am not.
you're an employee. Yeah,
Yeah,
lay us all out for me. Who founded it? Who thought there was a
yeah,
need? What was going
yeah,
on
man.
there? Yeah.
Absolutely. So there was like 14 people. Ron Jolly, which he still works for us, and he was known in the past just for a lot of the videography and content things he collected. And then his wife, Tess Jolly, you'll see a ton of her pictures dear turkey pictures in all kinds of magazines for decades. She's just a really renowned photographer, and so they're both avid hunters. And there were a total of 14 people, some in industry, some in not, but they were basically concerned about wild turkey decline. And at the time, when they got together, they're like, there's places we used to hunt, and there's not turkeys here anymore. And why is that? And what's going on? And so they're asking a lot of questions and pushing this to others, right? To other people that were supposedly managing turkeys. Okay. And so,
This would have been just how many years ago?
man, about 5 years ago, this come to a
Okay, and the
head.
Jollies
Okay.
live in Tennessee too.
No, they live in Alabama. Most of
Okay,
these folks were in Alabama, Mississippi. It originated in Mississippi
okay,
just due to location of people. But the deep South is where we're seeing turkey issues. And
yes,
honestly, and so at that time, it was over 5 years ago, but when I left Georgia DNR, I went and worked for the National Wild Turkey Federation. And so I worked for them for almost a decade.
my nemesis.
And then, and then I'm, I'm going to add it all in, man.
No,
And so I was there long enough, and I said, well, I was working as a biologist and kind of moved up to handle conservation projects. And we're doing a lot of ground and pound stuff, right? And then a lot of things flipped
I'm
near
just,
COVID
I know
time.
they do a lot of good work. I'm just trying to help them do better. Is where I'm at with them.
That's a good thing, man. It's always good to make anyone do better, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I left for a bunch of reasons, and then I worked for the Union Sportsman for a bit, working with
What's
union
that?
labor. Man, it's a conservation group that does work.
Union Sportsman?
Yeah, yeah, and they basically work with union labor to do like building projects, like a fishing pier or like a shooting range and things like that.
Oh,
We put together
okay.
like things for artificial reefs to put off the coast of
Oh, I've
Carolina.
never.
So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So they do volunteer work projects.
yeah, yeah. So basically, a lot of these guys, journeymen and stuff, men and women that were coming up through the ranks, they're like, "Hey, we can use your volunteer time, and it gets you accredited to the next steps." Well,
Oh,
it's
that's
pretty
sweet.
wise, man. So we had all this really. I mean, there's some pretty cool projects, man. So we had all these cool projects going on, but I found myself in DC a lot, and man, that just wasn't my gig. And so
Oh,
trying to
okay, okay. Why was what were you doing in DC?
trying to make magic happen, sometimes working with policymakers, you name it, trying to make things
To
happen
try to get grants and things like that?
all
What?
across the board. Sometimes trying to move things along with policymakers, I'll share a funny story because I was in Union Building right across from the White House, right? You got to get permission to be there and all this jazz. And so there's some folks there, legislators there, okay? And they're talking, union labor policy, but I'm there to try to edge in something about conservation wildlife. How can we change things? How can we open up some, like we're trying to do some access projects back in the past, man, and trying to do some shooting ranges just to give places where people can go, especially on Forest Service lands, because at that time, man, like 80% of all the shooting ranges are just shot. And the majority of,
You mean they were just
conservation
in bad
funding,
shape?
yeah, and just not maintained and all this jazz. I'm like, okay, I think we could stand this up. And so we're trying to make a strategic approach. And I still remember I showed up, man, I'm in the monkey suit, right, trying to do my thing, and have this lady show up. And I'm not going to mention her name, and there's Secret Service there, right? And so,
This is a
and
politician?
I'm gonna leave it there. Yes, a politician.
Okay.
And so I had, oftentimes, man, my lapel, I like to have some kind of feathers. And this one, I had some pheasant feathers, man, that some birds I harvested in South Dakota. And so I had them in backwards. It looked pretty cool. And so this lady's looking at me. She's like, "Sir, I need to talk to you." I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "You can't have that." I said, "What do you mean?" Like, you can't have those feathers. And I'm like, um, well, why not? And so now I got these two kind of dudes, they're just kind of looking at me like, man, I'm about to be tossed the hell out of this place. This is not
Secret
cool.
Service dudes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True story, man. And it's kind of funny. And so I'm sitting there, and then there's some other people kind of looking at me, and the crowd's forming because, dude, I'm this bald headed dude, and I'm not some good looking guy. I mean, I'm here to talk about some conservation. I got a background as a biologist, and I'm ready to go. Hey, we need to get some shooting ranges here. We need to do
You're
this. We
not
need to do that.
slick. You're not being
Uh,
trying to be slick.
no, I am who I am, man. And so,
Well, we need more of that.
so, so the next comment is like, "Hey, those eagle feathers, you can't have those." And I'm almost laughing. I'm like, well, hey, these aren't eagle feathers. Well, how do you know that? I said, because I harvested this bird. And now these Secret Service dudes are just looking at me. One of them's kind of grinning. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I harvest this like, in the fall, winter in South Dakota and with my own hands. And I have yet to say what it is because I'm playing this game a little bit. Now I got some other
Oh,
people coming
okay,
around.
okay. You're not too
Yep, yep.
freaked out if you're
No, I'm
if
like,
you're
okay,
like
I'm
kind
about
of
to
toying
reveal
with her a
like,
little bit.
man, I mean, you get one chance to toy someone you see on TV that you think is not good for people. And I'm like, okay, this is my chance. And so I said, I might get thrown out, but I'm going to have a hell of a story. And
Yeah.
so then I'm like, well, yeah, these are pheasant feathers, like wild pheasant. And so that was kind of like, and it got quiet. And then when the Secret Service dude just grinned, I'm like, oh, he hunts. He knows. And so then it was just like, and I said, well, ma'am, I harvested this, like a year ago. And I always like to honor some of the critters that I harvest, like feathers and different things I do. And I said, it's just, it's a good way to tell my story. And so she just kind of like stormed off, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, God, what an idiot. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
is these are the people leading us? This is not cool. So
Well, yeah,
anyhow,
I mean,
man,
it's he- he- I guess if I was to dissect that situation, what I'd say is probably the majority of Americans live their entire life never outside of sight of a building would be my guess. And it's
yeah,
okay to be ignorant about feather ID, but
right.
but just don't be falsely confident,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
right on.
I mean,
Yep.
I could if she had said being totally ignorant of wildlife, said, "Now, I'm told there's lots of different kinds of birds, and I know that you can't have eagle feathers. Those aren't eagle feathers by chance." I would have been like, I would have had total respect for her.
Absolutely, man. It's all about the approach, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so,
Yeah.
if the approach would have been different, I'd have been like, yeah, yeah, let's talk, or hey, can I get you a drink, or let's talk about this. Like, yeah, this is this, and but no, man. And so then some of the other people that come up afterward, I'm like, well, yeah, my background's a biologist, and I like to hunt, and this is my thing, and oh, cool, and so I had a couple of people that were like really talking about like, oh, I love those feathers, that's awesome. I'm like, well, yeah, I like to honor the birds that I harvest. So anyway, it's one of those things. But yeah, man, I did a little run with them, and then
If you see me looking at my phone, it's just because I'm just typing in Union Sportsman now.
check it out, man. Union Sportsman Alliance.
Oh, it pops right up.
Yep.
I typed in Union SP and it comes right up. What a cool organization. That's awesome. You should have quit.
Yeah,
You
man.
should have stayed with them.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
just joking.
man. But no,
I'm gonna invite them
yeah,
on though.
you should, man. You should. But yeah, I jumped ship there, and literally just stepped into this thing trying to help initially. I talked to them, and I had some of the original founders I had talked to well in advance, and they're asking me questions and like, wow, man, why isn't this going on in the turkey arena? I'm like, man, we've been talking about turkey decline for a while behind the scenes, and it's not going public. I said, I'm done. Like, we need to do something. And so, long story short, man, I jumped in. Initially, there was a project they're trying to stand up in Oklahoma with the Cherokee Nation there. And so I said, well, hey, man, I know a
What's
little bit
that?
about grants and stuff. It was going to be a turkey project, right? And so,
Turkey Nation?
no, with the Cherokee Nation
Oh,
in
I'm sorry.
Oklahoma.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, 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 yeah. And so Ron Jolly was like, "Hey, do you know anything about grants?" I said, "I've written a grant or two." I said, all the funding that I ever put together when I left NWTF, I said, I funded all my staff off of grants and agreements. I had zero internal funding. I said it sucked. It was hard to do.
Through when you're talking about what your time with
Yeah,
when you
back years ago with NWTF. Yeah, that was my thing. I did a lot of grants and agreements,
oh
outside grants and
when you
agreements
were
too.
with NWTF,
Yep.
you got acquired all your own funding.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Gotcha.
Had to be very self reliant. So yeah, man. So I was just saying, yeah, I've done a little bit of grant writing and did some things with USA. And you're like, well, can you help with this? I said, sure. And so I wasn't working for him yet. I was doing a little consulting still on this side, and then basically, me and another gentleman tried to help stand up just a research project. I said, well, hey, man, I like the research perspective. That's my thing. And I said, yeah, I'll be glad to do it. So I reached out to the folks and tried to help them rework it because it was not put together that well at the moment, and
What
so
were they?
it
What
needed
was it?
some
What were
help.
they trying to accomplish? What were they trying to get the money for?
It was a really a predator prey dynamic type research project that would be inclusive of some habitat manipulation. And so looking at several things, where there being issues of wild turkey decline, and issues with basically nest success, brood success, et cetera. And so trying to tackle all of that, looking at control sites, and it was a big area. So it was really nice to set up a grid. You know, man, you're a researcher. You can understand this, but having a nice control site and then being able to grid it out where you can manipulate habitat and then test that for breed success and predator numbers, and then also another area where hey, there's no habitat work going on, and let's see what that looks like with predators and the birds, and then let's check out another area on the grid where we can actually manipulate quote unquote predator numbers and habitat and see what that does to breeds, etc. And
Okay,
so
so you have three
is
treatments. You
yep,
have
yep,
ambient predator with habitat manipulation, ambient predator with no habitat manipulation, and the third treatment was uh ambient habitat with predator removal. Is that right?
correct, yep.
Um,
But it
and then
didn't get
what
funded.
did you measure?
Well, it didn't get funded.
Oh,
So we laid it out. We moved it up the line. It didn't get funded, but that's how I took the first steps with TFT. And they're like, "Well, hey, would you be willing to work for us for a bit and help us? We just need some help setting this stuff up. And you're a biologist." I said, "Man, I'd love to." And so I just stepped in initially, man, trying to stand some things up and looking at everything from what I've seen that's worked well and what hasn't worked well, and trying to just give some guidance. And then I was in for a bit, for almost a year, and they're like, "Well, hey, could you just run this thing?" And I went, "Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't need a title. I'm just here to work with you guys." And so yeah, we have a small team, man, and but we have some super passionate people that just really care. So yeah, we're hyper focused on the science of the bird and trying to figure out what's going on with turkey decline, and very open to talk about that. I've been to meetings a decade ago where this really first come up, and it was just like hush mouth. We won't talk about it, and
why is
it's
that?
not a good feeling. I think it was, to be honest with you, man. A lot of state agencies were involved, and if you think about the dynamics of a state agency and they're getting really paid to manage the resource, and if the resource is declining, I think it was kind of a black eye. And so it's like, well, maybe it's just cyclical. Let's just wait and watch. But
Gotcha.
you start putting the numbers on paper, man, you look at the regression, the statistics, and it was just, it wasn't like, hey, it's coming back up, but
Mm.
it was a pretty steady decline. And so um, early on, Dr. Mike Chamberlain, he hired on, I think it was Dr. Mike Byrne, which is in Missouri now, to start looking at that across the
Dr.
states.
Chamberlain, who does he work for?
He works for UGA, University of Georgia.
Okay.
He is, yeah, he, and
And he's
honestly,
a
Dr.
wildlife.
Brett Collier, yeah, yeah, he's a probably I'd say at the moment, Dr. Brett Collier, which just stepped out of LSU, and Dr. Mike Chamberlain are probably the most renowned turkey researchers out there. We have a bunch of others that's coming on now, but they've been
When you
around for a
say
while.
coming on, like, oh, it, others that are at universities that are starting to focus
Yep.
on turkeys. Okay.
Yeah, and some at various degrees. Some have been on and off. We have some folks at multiple universities that has done some turkey work, but I mean, a fact right now is there's more work going into wild turkey research now than there ever has been.
Wow, that's
Um,
interesting.
Yep, yep. A lot of people concerned, man. Turkey hunters are probably some of the most crazy ass passionate people I've ever met,
Yeah.
and I've hunted with a lot of different people, man. And so duck hunters are probably second, and then everything else, maybe elk hunters right in there too. You know, that interaction, the calling, all of that is just a part of that, rich culture of what you love, right? And so I think those hunters in general are very similar with what they like to do.
Okay. So you guys have been operating for 5 years.
4 years officially as a 501(c)(3).
Okay. Uh, yeah. So what is it that you actually do?
Yeah, we're actually trying to raise money to figure out what's going on with wild turkey decline. That's been day one to the day, and trying to figure out how do we bring back population numbers in all the states it's declining in, because it's
Okay. And you
not
and
one
and you
state.
you're trying to get the funds through um grants or donations.
Right now, just because where we are, all right, just we're very young. And so, being a 501(c)(3), there's some grants and agreements we can't put in for yet because we just we're almost through with our first audit. Okay. And so there are some legal ramifications that you have to go through in order to apply for certain types of grants agreements. That's just what Uncle Sam and state agencies say. So we're about to be at that point where we can start applying for some different things. We have went through and garnered some, what I'd say, more private foundation grants to do work. We are taking donations from people and trying to drive it back into doing research. We started doing, and this was not what it wasn't what the founders wanted to do. It's basically what people at large ask. And so we're kind of growing this off of what people are asking for. And so it's been very grassroots, and we're growing this the way that people are wanting it to be rather than what anyone like. I'm just here to kind of, I see myself as a facilitator, man. And so I'm just facilitating what our turkey hunters want to see done for turkeys. And so it takes a little extra work, but honestly, man, it's the kind of work that we want to do that really signifies what people want to see on private and public lands. um, Number one, I mean, we talk about the research. We want to know what the issues are, and then how do we address those issues? So, with any business, man, if there's a problem and you come up with a solution, you probably have a pretty viable business. And so, right now, we're trying to come up with some real world solutions. And one is really trying to work on private landowners here in the southeast, where we're seeing major issues with turkey decline. Um, I think there's three things that we're focused on with these private landowner cooperatives, where we're trying to bring. Number one, we're trying to do a lot of outreach, education, and get people aware of what's going on and how do we help people at a local level. And so, like, I mean, I'll tell you, like, man, if you saw what kind of travel I'm doing, you go, dude, you're crazy. But we just had a board meeting recently, right? And I stopped and met with multiple landowners across 4 states, just trying to give them some technical assistance and get them stood up. Where, hey, this is what you may want to do. I'll send you some notes, next steps. Some hands-on management, man, that people are hungry for because they don't know what the hell to do. I don't have turkeys here anymore. What
Okay.
can I
So
do?
there's a consulting component to what you're doing,
It is. It is.
helping
It is.
land managers uh better manage their habitat, their lands
Yep.
for turkeys, but also one thing you're ultimately striving for is to do actual research.
Absolutely, man. I'm
You
hoping that
guys will
one
do the research in house, or you'll
that's a goal, man. We really would love to have like someone on staff that would be And the reason why I'd love to have someone that would be the like full-time researcher is so that we save money. As you know, man, being in research and
Yeah.
running through universities, indirect overhead rate butchers people. And
Yeah. So
so,
for folks that aren't aware, when you give when a granting agency gives money to a university for a research project, the university takes a big chunk right off the top.
on average, that's 40 to 55%.
Yeah, and that
And
some of that you shouldn't be reflexively angry about that, folks, because some of that is going for lab space and all that
yep,
stuff, but it's a lot of overhead.
yep, yep. And so I guess our mindset is if we could cut out some overhead to see the dollars go further, we'd love to see that happen. And then just own as much research as we can and let someone just grind it all, 24/7. That's all I want somebody thinking about is what can we do to solve the problem. And
What a
I
wonderful
mean,
job
it's
that would be. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's interesting, man. Like we have board members. Like if we didn't have a turkey issue, I mean, if we solved the turkey problem tomorrow, we would basically this 501(c)(3) would go away. We don't need it if we,
That's
and so
so interesting because I was talking to a guy earlier today that we were talking about how so many of these nonprofits, they wouldn't fold up if they solved their issue.
that's
They
crazy, man.
yeah. Like
I don't,
I
I don't.
know about this proposed public land sale that just got
Oh,
stripped out.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
So,
garbage.
there's a lot of these organizations that wanted that thing to come, those sales to come within a hair's breadth of happening, right? Because they fundraise off of that. You know?
Yeah. Well, and it's like, hey, we did this, we saved it. And honestly, man, it's weird, man. I mean, I've been in this arena for a while, and I've had people ask me like, "Well, hey, did you call this person?" Well, yeah, I don't have to tell everyone I did it. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm handling I mean, I'm just handling, right? I like to handle my business, and if we can indoctrinate some people to go, hey, call this person, shake this tree to make it happen, great. But I don't have to come back and go, hey, we did this ourselves. We won
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you know what I
I
mean? I
went
mean, I
to
feel
I
like
went to
that's that
Kenya a couple
braggadocious
months.
side,
I went
right?
to Kenya in February, and this guy told me a saying. He said it in Swahili, and it sounds way cooler that way. But it's do good and walk away. Do good and walk away. You know,
That's solid, man.
it is.
That's solid. Man, I like that. I may have to keep that one. Do
Yeah,
good and walk away. That's cool, man. I like that. I definitely like that. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I mean, I don't know that whole land sale though, man. That is, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, some people jokingly call me the public land prowler because man, even though I'm in a role and I can hunt on some private land, but man, I grew up hunting public ground. We don't have a lot of public ground, man. I'm just gonna tell you right now, we
yeah.
don't have a lot of public ground here, and I will travel places to go to get to hunt and experience some things, man. But yeah, it's if Pandora's box ever opens on something like that, if it's just even a half an acre, it's like, hey, it's just a half acre we're going to use. Then all of a sudden, it sets precedent, and it's no turning back. And
Mhm.
that's what scares the hell out of me. Would these kind of things pop up? I wish we had. I mean, like if I could wave the magic wand right now, I would. I think I would formulate all the states to be structured like the state of Missouri. Okay, with their funding model. It's probably the best conservation funding model out there. Whether we have 500 or 10,000 hunters, the funding model will not go away, and it's going to continue to fund conservation efforts for eternity if it never gets changed. And
Okay, so
so it's
explain that
basically,
their model and explain the standard model. Just
yeah, absolutely, man. So in Missouri, I think it was in 1976, maybe they went through with an eighth of a cent sales tax. Okay, and so this eighth of a cent goes back to conservation It basically helps fund Missouri Department of Conservation and all their efforts. That 8% funds, I think it's around, I'm going to be off a little bit, around 60% of all the funding model in the state. Okay. 60%. That's a chunk, dude. And so, and then you look at license fees, like, listen, man, I'm a hunter, and I'll tell you every day, I love to hunt and fish. I mean, that's how I feed my family, my own hands. And our license sales that we hear about and the match and all this jazz, that only, like in Missouri, that's only like 15, 16% of the funding there, right? And so that funding model that's in place in all the other states, which, if we go back to like the North American model, wildlife and all this jazz, and break all that down. But if we look at this on most states, right, most of our conservation funding is actually coming through the shooting sports,
Oh, right, right.
through Pittman Robertson, primarily through every time that trigger goes bang, it is good. And so the people that are in shooting sports really fund most conservation. And
You
it's
see me
it's kind of a
typing it,
big
so
deal.
I didn't know about this Missouri thing, so I'm just
Oh, they check it out. Hey, another good
that's
state to
cool.
check out, man. That I like. If I could take that model and just wave it across all the states, like I would feel like I've done something if we had a model like that. Because not only they're doing this is really cool, dude. Just hear me out for a minute. I get kind of I'm about to nerd out on you for a minute, but this right here is opening up the opportunity for a lot of one-on-one management for private landowners. They're opening up more access to land. They're purchasing lands. And man, you look at Missouri and it's like a little spattering of properties everywhere now. And it's pretty cool. And so,
Public property.
yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. And then like access programs. And so there's a lot of opportunity if people are forward thinking and going, what can we do with having a permanence of funding that goes back to some green space that all of us can cherish and use, right?
Yeah.
And this goes beyond just hunting and fishing, right? But for everything else.
Oh,
And so,
yeah.
I mean,
Bird
we have to
watching,
be
mushroom picking, just hiking, whatever.
absolutely, dude. I mean, hell, man, I just come in with a bag of chanterelles, man. I mean, that's just, I mean, we living off land. I mean, we hillbilly. But I mean, everyone should have that opportunity, right, to do that. And if we're forward thinking enough, in all the states, we had the legislative processes in place. It could model off a few of the states. Minnesota is a pretty good state too, man. They have something that went through in the late '80s, and they have a pretty robust pot of money, and it's through their lottery fund, man. And so, like 40% of their lottery
Oh,
goes back into conservation.
oh,
That's
I'm
another
making
good state
another
to
note.
check
I didn't
out,
know
dude.
that either.
Oh yeah, man, it's pretty cool. It's like the ENRT fund, something like that. Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, I think.
Okay.
That's just off the top of my head, man. But yeah, that's another state. Like, okay, let's forward think, and if we got states with lotteries or whatever, if we could just take a little bit of here and give back, how cool would that be?
It's such
So
a tiny amount, and then everybody has more places they can go.
yeah, man, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, something that like TFT, we're small, man. We're just kind of getting our feet underneath us, but and you and I talked about this, but a cohort of ours that's been on your show before, Cam,
Cameron Weddington.
yeah, yep, yep. So we got some guys over there, and we're calling like local groups flocks. We're keeping everything very turkey centric. So group of folks get together and want to do something. We're calling that a local flock. And so that local flock in West Tennessee around Jackson, man, they got together and they're like, "Hey, we want to do something to give back." We're like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" Like, "We want to do a habitat project." I'm like, "Fantastic! I'm all in." And so I started trying to pave the pathway with the state agency, and it takes time, man. It's red tape, but we're looking at trying to help with and we're going to have just like pennies into this, man. But it's going to be a land acquisition, man, in western Tennessee, and so we're pretty stoked. It's going to provide some access for hunting, and it's
Oh,
actually
wait
around
a
a major
minute.
waterway.
The state of Tennessee is going to acquire some land, and then
Yep,
one of your
yep.
flocks is going to do habitat work on that land.
Well, they're helping with the funding, like just it's basically some front dollars along with a lot of other groups, right? just to help make it happen. And
I
then they're
see.
going to help with any kind of habitat work. So yeah, man, it's pretty cool. We're trying to give people at a local level some leverage on how they want to see dollars spent at a local level to do things. We have some folks. It's like we're at a field day last week, man. We had Dr. Craig Harper from University of Tennessee and Dr. Will Goolsbee from the University of Auburn there. And we're talking about like brood range and how to manage habitat and some predator work, man. And so, but those guys were like at our river region flock out of Alabama. The fellow that kind of heads that committee up, Foster Pugh, good dude, man. He's like, yeah, man, we want to help with the field day. We want to educate people. We want to give money back and do stuff. So, man, we went out there and just we were there supporting, just trying to educate people. And on a 99-degree day in Alabama, we still had 80 people show up wanting to figure out what to do. And I mean, they were there, very engaged, man. It
Okay.
was really cool.
A lot of passion about turkeys.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But across the board, we're going to do some work up in Pennsylvania on we have a few flocks up there, and one of the guys, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna mention his name, Andrew, really good guy. He's like, hey man, we want to do a project. I'm like, well, dude, let's do a project. What do you want to do? Who do I need to talk to? And so, man, he's just like throwing names at me. I'm like, all right, I'll call these people up. And so we're going to do a habitat project. It's going to provide some good breed range for not only turkeys, but for grouse up in kind of that escarpment of the mountains there. So it's going to be pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
We're trying to do some things at a local level and just show people this is what we want to do. And if you want to do something local, great. If you're not comfortable doing something local, we're going to put it towards some research projects for sure. So
Yeah. So do you guys one of the things I struggle with NWTF was the lack of specificity about what they accomplish. So I
yep,
guess I would encourage you guys to really have well document your impacts. Like, where was the project? How
yep,
much, what of it, however you quantify that, man hours or dollars, was your contribution versus other
yep.
contributions? Like, to me, I'm trying to make it so that that when people are looking at what nonprofits to support, those are things they consider because
Transparency, man. Transparency is huge. And I can speak a lot about some of that for sure. But yeah, we
I'm
I
not trying to
appreciate
put you on
that.
the spot or anything like that.
No,
It's just
no, 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 not at
it's
all, man.
important to say this was our role in this
Yep.
accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what we want to do. And so I'm glad you mentioned that because it's something that I think a lot of us that have worked with some other organizations before, and we have not seen the things that we feel comfortable with. We're pretty doggone adamant about making sure it's super transparent what we're doing. And so, like, as we're getting like details of research projects, and man, I'm shaking trees like, hey, man, I need some details of what we're doing here. I want to tell people, and like we recently, man, we're down in Texas. I won't say recently; it was February. Okay, we trapped some turkeys down there. It's a GPS backpack study and using with LSU, Tennessee Tech. So we trapped some hens and we're basically following these birds and we're getting some like live data on where birds are moving. And people are hungry for that. Like, why are they moving here? What's going on? Like, well, give us another month. We're collecting data. We're putting it on a map and we're showing how they're moving. And then we're going to show where they're nesting. And then we're going to show if their broods survive. But we're trying to demonstrate some of this, like, and keep people up to date. Like, this is what's going on right now. This is what we learned. And, you know, and you understand this, man, because, I mean, you're a well published individual, right? I mean, I look I was like, man, Renella's got some publications. Like,
Well, it's all I
you're
do.
legit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean but yeah, man. But this is that process, and so each person involved in that, and you know, I've went through the peer review process several times, doing you know, filling out a lot of things with elk restoration, et cetera. And so some people like to talk about how things are moving along. And then what we see with some researchers is they don't want to talk about it until it's completely peer reviewed, approved in a journal, and then they're comfortable with it, right?
Uh huh.
And so, and I understand everyone has their different preferences, but we're really trying to keep people up to date as much as we can because, man, we're all kind of hungry. Like we're on the tip of our seats wanting to know what's happening. And so, because we're ready to, there's so many, man, it's really cool to be around so many people ready to take action. And we don't want to misguide them to take the wrong action. It's like, well, hey, you need to herbicide, do some herbicide work, but you don't want to tell them, hey, use this herbicide and it's the wrong herbicide, right? That would not help anyone. And so it's trying to give them the correct guidance as we get it and be very clear about it, whatever that is. But yeah, man, we're trying to be super transparent about what we're doing, and just trying to let people decide on how do you want to spend money? What do you want to see this happen? And we're going to honor you with that. So
Yeah,
it's a little different approach. It's taken some extra work, but dude, we put together like a this year we put together a 30-ish person committee. And I don't know if you've ever had to run a large committee before to facilitate, but man, it's like,
that's a
it's like
lot.
herding cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to open this up to everyone working with us in all these states. And it's primarily in the East right now. Okay. From the Northeast, really heavy in the Southeast. But we invite everyone in like, well, what do you want to do? How do you want to spend money? How much money do you want to spend here? What kind of projects would you like to do? And so we're just asking questions. What do you want to do?
What's the
Tell
makeup
us.
of this committee?
Man, it's a lot of local individuals, man. And
Like
then we have
landowners?
landowners. It's people that are involved with us as a local flock.
Okay.
We had some folks that have a professional background as well in natural resources, and so it was a really cool mix, man, across the board. But the combining factor is everyone loves turkey hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's a turkey hunter. And so everyone has stories to share and how they want to see something happen locally. And so we're all we want to do is give them the tools and just help give the guidance and give the professional guidance, man. And then just get the hell out of the way and make things happen. We want to make things happen on the ground. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. This would have been a better question to ask right up front, but I'm going to ask it now.
Yeah.
Uh, so Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, like turkeys started to decline what in the 90s?
We started talking about it in I think it was around 2012 ish. Okay.
Okay.
And so what we saw is the turkey population, on the onset of reintroduction, and it happened to coincide with a lot of areas where fur prices happen to be still really good, and we saw a lot of trafficking going on. This is just some correlation here.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not proven,
this is where I'm
okay?
going.
But
I just want to get a sense
this
of
is
when
this
they
is going to set
started to
it up.
decline
Yep,
and what
yep,
you're based. There's no way it's one factor, because if it was
that's
one
right.
factor, we'd have it figured out,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, man. I
Yeah.
mean, birds die by 1,000 cuts, and so there's a lot of things that wants to kill them, and I'm one of them at sometimes a year. And so what we saw is the turkey population boom up, and people knew that turkey population was pretty good because of harvest. We're looking at harvest in
Okay.
states.
The
No one knows what the
reintroductions,
population number is. Yep.
when reintroductions occurred when?
Gosh, some places 70s, 80s,
Okay.
90s,
And then they
even into
started
the
to come up.
2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, boom, 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 and then come down. And then some places we saw a little plateau, the upper Midwest. Okay, there's some of those states that population is still solid. Okay.
Where I grew up, there was
Michigan.
zero turkeys when I was a kid. And then when I moved here away from Michigan in my late 20s, and their numbers are pretty good. And now there's a ton of them there. So
Yep.
I, 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 if I had to guess, I'd guess it would, same thing will happen there. Just they'll start to come down. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of things out there that, cause turkeys. I mean, the one thing we can't control is Mother Nature, weather, right? And so like this year, I'll tell you, man, like in my state I'm in right now, we have flooding rains back during peak nesting. Like flooding as in 17 to 20 inches of rain in 2 days. Okay.
Oh,
And so
wow.
that's terrible. Like our local lake here is still 17 feet above summer pool. So all the bottomlands that and all these estuaries that feed it, it's underwater, man. And
Oh,
so areas that used to be pretty good brood range, maybe nesting habitat, it ain't there. Um, and so you get a lot of rain, which is definitely not good.
like
Moisture.
let me interject
Yep.
real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
North Dakota and I think South Dakota, uh, they in the early 90s went through a severe multiple year drought, like 5, 6 years. And a lot of farmers lost their farms during that time. Um, and since then, they have been in a wet cycle. So they've been in a wet cycle for a couple decades. So it couldn't be something like that, could it? There? Like
It
you
could
haven't
be.
your wet period hasn't there's not some wet period going on in the southeast that's like prolonged, right?
It hasn't been going on for years, but
Okay.
if the timing is wrong, it causes some issues. And
Sure.
when you have a lot of mesopredators, and if anyone out there is a bird hunter, you got dogs to hunt with, just know that moisture is what you need for scent. And so, and turkeys stink. Maybe a reason why they're called fowl. But birds
Oh,
stink. And so when they're on the ground for, for that long, we're talking about a 45-day window. These birds are sitting on a spot and they're just moving around a few acres, get some bugs, come back, sit on that nest. It creates like a scent bomb. And so with moisture, it creates a lot of scent. And if there's a lot of access in that area, wherever this hen happens to put her nest, there's a high likelihood that something's going to sniff her out. And
so it's
so
not
that's
just
when,
that the poults are dying from exposure, it's that the predators have an easier time finding the nest when
yep, yep. Yeah, when there's a
oh,
lot of moisture. So, man, there's just a lot to unpack, right? And
yeah.
then we have, you think about how we have many more people in places where there used to not be people, okay? And there's a house here and now we have what I call these entrance ways for more mesopredators to potentially find these nests. And so like some of these studies we're funding, man, like in Iowa, for example, the study we funded up there, their nest success was like 8%.
So
Okay.
Turkeys for Tomorrow has already funded some projects.
Absolutely. We funded projects in Iowa, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas. The next state's going to be Florida and Oklahoma
Research
and
projects.
Georgia. Research projects,
Oh,
all
I was
research
getting that
projects,
you
man.
hadn't got that far yet.
No, no, we funded a lot of research projects. That's like our bread and butter, man.
Okay.
I mean, that's where we're putting money back on the ground and following things as it comes along. And so it's been really good for sure.
All right. So what do you what are the now that I understand that you already have research happening, what are you looking at?
Man, everything. I think the next big step for us is, there's been a lot of questions about nest success. Okay, so if theoretically we have turkey populations have already populated everywhere they're going to populate, right? So they're everywhere they should be. So what's the limiting factor of why this population is stunted or not growing or declining? And so right now we're seeing declines in states. Some of it's kind of minuscule, and we'll see some bumps like the a big cicada hatch, right? The big cicada hatch, and we get a boom in the population again. And so we get some things that kind of help, and then it kind of comes down, and then you start looking at long term. You're like, well, dang, it's still kind of has it really plateaued yet? Is it there? Is it still going to decline? So our next big focus here, man, is we're looking at what are those predator prey interactions and can we start quantifying on some things to do? We've seen it like in the quail world, like northern bobwhites, where in 1 year, right? If you're selectively trapping, like 2 weeks prior to nest initiation for bobwhites, we can boost a population by 10 to 15%. That's
Oh,
what the
no
literature
kidding.
says, right?
No
Yeah.
kidding.
And so the deep south, man, we've seen this just really hit hard, and they're doing good habitat work, right? And so you're getting a good boost in the population because if you got good habitat structure, It's not necessarily which weeds are there. It's just the structure of the weeds and managing it over time. If you're doing that correctly, then yeah, you're gonna maintain it where those predators can't see these birds and their survival goes up. But let's say you're this average guy that's out there that's on a property that he's door knocked and landowner's like, well, hey, I'm gonna let you hunt, but they can't do any habitat management. Habitat may be subpar. What can they still do? They can still trap.
Yeah.
So maybe we encourage some folks to go, hey, maybe a little bit of selective trapping could
Well,
be
do
a
you
good
guys
thing.
sell merch?
We do sell a little bit of merch, man.
Oh,
We got
well,
some
here's an
things.
idea for you. Why don't you guys sell fur coats? You need
Man, I
to
never thought.
offer a fur coat?
Man, who can we? Okay, all right. I'm like, where you going here?
That's an
If
outside
everyone
the
out
box
there
idea right there.
wants to just send us their furs, because man, no one's getting any money for them now. So
Yeah.
man, we can gladly put them to good use. That's a pretty good idea. Like if we had someone that could put those together, man, build the merch for us, that'd be
Yeah.
pretty epic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got to find a company to work with. But
I like that idea. We sell some traps and stuff, man.
oh, you do?
Yeah, we sell some dog proof traps, especially. It's something
Oh.
that most states you can go out and easily do that, right? And it's probably one of the easier traps to set. And then if people have pets and stuff, you don't have to worry about them getting caught. So I think it's a good like gateway into trapping.
Hmm.
Like take this out to your property. So we got one of our gentlemen on our board that actually with the National Trappers, and so we've had him doing some videos for us and just trying some like, hey, here's some quick things to do. Like, hey, if you set a snare, if you can snare in your state, this is maybe what you want to do. Or hey, if you're trying to trap bobcats, here's a really cool bobcat box. And so we're trying
Okay.
to give some like educational stuff to get people kind of hyped up again about trapping. I mean, we're not going to tell you that, hey, if you're going to trap, it's going to solve the problem, but it could help.
Yeah.
But we're trying to prove that, man. We're trying to put some research behind that right now, and I'm really
That's
excited. There's some.
interesting. Like, yeah, if there was some, okay, so is habitat, okay, so how do I ask this? Are there big chunks of land in the southeast where the habitat quality has been pretty stable for decades, but there's still less turkeys?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, so that shows it's more than just habitat. But it's interesting to think
Yep.
about. Like if you had good habitat and predators were managed, I mean managed. Like I'm not a big like let's get rid of all the predators kind of guy. I mean, I like there to be some, but just maybe like back when fur prices were higher, like at that level
I
would.
mean, you think about it, man. It's like. I mean, this is like some basic biology stuff. It's like predator prey dynamics, right? So we got more predators than prey, they're not really going anywhere. But if we could remove a few predators to let the prey kind of get going again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to let that population to grow, and it's just pretty interesting, man. So at a scale, okay. So I talk about cicadas, man. Like should have worn my damn cicada shirt. You'd laugh at it. I had a buddy of mine buy me a damn cicada shirt because man, I've been preaching about cicadas for years. Like man, when we have a cicada hatch and these big, like last year was like an epic multi-brood hatch across most of the southeast and a lot of the Midwestern states. And I will tell you right now, I can bet you money, and I'm not a rich man, but I'll bet you a turkey feather that next season we'll have high turkey harvest in all those counties
Oh,
because 2-year-old birds are like teenager boys that like to chase ladies and they get real loud and proud. And most of your harvest each year is over 55% of your birds are 2-year-old birds. And so we track this back and we have a big cicada hatch. There's a lot of food, but what we see are predator prey shifts. So hawks are picking up cicadas,
instead of poults.
raccoons are picking up cicadas,
Okay.
coyotes are picking up cicadas. And so all of a sudden, everything is gorging on all this food that's there, right? And so the poult survival goes up. And on average, in a lot of these states that's seen this, instead of it being like a 1 to 2, so a hen to poult ratio of a 1 to 2 means you have a stable population. Two poults are making it to be adults. Okay.
Yeah.
But on years we have cicadas, we're seeing a 1 to 3 to a 1 to 5 in that
Oh, wow.
range. Okay. So now we get a population boost. Boom. So now think about this. This is predator prey shifts. This is theoretic, right? This is at a scale. But what if we had a little bit of predator management going on, maybe in a cooperative? Okay. So this is what we're talking about private land and the cooperatives. We have people wanting to work together, maybe to harvest a few predators over a year or two, maybe just to help the turkey population get running again. And
Mm-hmm.
if we could get prey numbers high enough, and this is, if you look at any of the modeling, any of the old school predator prey dynamics, this is what you see the lynx and hare. Okay. It's pretty basic. And so what you see is as prey numbers start going up until you get homeostasis, it gets balanced at a different level, and then we go from there. But the one thing that we see that's consistent, okay, across all of this is hunters are still out there really hitting the resource each year, right? They're still hunting the same places, still trying to harvest birds. So
They don't
that's
eat
been pretty.
cicadas.
They're not eating cicadas, right? So on non cicada years, well, there's a few people eat cicadas, man. They're
Oh,
not
do
that
they?
bad.
Oh, have
Yeah,
you
yeah,
eaten
yeah.
them?
They're kind of light, fluffy, man. They're just like crunch. Fry them up, saute them,
Oh,
whatever.
I'd try it. I've always been a
Yeah,
little
man. It's
grossed out by eating insects, but I'd try it.
Yeah. I mean, you try everything once.
It's
It's not
just
something that
mental
I want to eat every
masturbation.
day. Oh, it
Like,
is,
what's the
dude. It
difference in
is.
eating a shrimp or a freaking clam
Yep,
and an insect?
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting, man. I think that predator prey shifts are important to think about, and if we can manipulate some of that, we're not talking about like we need to kill everything all the time, but if we can at least adjust it enough to get back some of the species that we want to have some fun listening to, man, it'd be fantastic.
Hmm.
It'd be fantastic. So that's
Yeah.
what we're looking at, man. We're trying to push some research in that direction and just trying to figure out what would that look like, because most of the like the policies in all the states has always been around, the fur industry, and we're pretty far down the road where fur harvest just doesn't look like it used to. I mean, I looked at fur. I was looking at the fur prices here in Kentucky this year. Man, you know how much a possum was selling for?
50 cents.
A nickel. A
Shit.
nickel. I mean, who who wants to put the effort in to get a nickel, man? Like I think I'd walk a parking lot and pick up a damn nickel. And so
Yeah.
when you start thinking about those price points of several of these species that has some type of impact, right, at a scale, um, it's the financials aren't there, but the regulations in the states are still structured around fur harvest seasons, right? Well, maybe they should think about like, well, hey, if we're trying to manage for this species and this species and this species, maybe we should make some adjustments or appropriations for landowners that want to do something to help, you know, what's paying the bills in the states, right? Deer
Yeah.
turkey hunters in general, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing with that fur, it's like it could turn around so fast if there was just all of a sudden
I
a
wish it
famine,
would.
you
I
know?
wish it would.
Yeah.
Dude.
If Kim
Okay, so
Kardashian
man.
bought if Kim Kardashian bought a coyote jacket,
Oh, dude, yes. That's all we need. I mean, do you have connections or what? We need that.
I'm not a I burned all my connections.
No, we do. I wish we had something like that because, man, it would make some of these things a heck of a lot easier, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, with that, I'm gonna let you get about your evening and uh yeah, so like what's the how do people get a hold of your group? You guys have a website.
Man, we have a website. It's turkeysfortomorrow.org. You can click on there and see anything. We got a news feed that we try to keep anything going on, what's shaking, all that kind of
Okay.
jazz. And so, yeah, we send out. We try to get out like a monthly e-blast, email to folks that are signed up with us, and just kind of updates on what's going on, man. And
Okay.
so yeah, we'll have some
Okay.
fun
You guys have
events.
a do you guys have an Instagram?
We do. We do. You can look up Turkeys for Tomorrow and you will find us. We have a lot of it's a lot of we got a lot of like just real natural it's pretty cool stuff, man. If you like turkey sounds and seeing turkeys, what they're doing, you'll see a lot of that. You'll see some management tips. We do management tip Mondays, just try and talk about things that are good for turkeys and try to manage. And we try to, build in a little bit of
Damn,
fun as well.
you guys are big shots. You got 33,000 followers.
Man, that's good. We just got a ban lifted actually. Uh
You just got what?
I mean, we had a ban on us for a bit. They
Why is
call it a
that?
shadow ban. Because we're an event
Were you
and
guys
there was a
using
fire.
guillotine heads or something?
No, we don't show any of that junk, man.
Oh, good for you.
No,
Good for you.
a firearm got showed, okay, at an event, right? And
Uh-huh.
so and we can't show guns because apparently that's bad. And so yeah, man. So we
What?
got we got a
How is
one.
that? Like,
Dude, we got banned for a year, man. I ain't kidding you. Now our page was still running, but there's certain functions we couldn't use, and so I've been I don't know. I got connected in with some other guys and try to figure out how do we get around this. And literally, like it was last let's say Tuesday. It was last Thursday. We got the live function. We couldn't even do a live again. It was totally banned. I mean,
okay.
it's crazy, man. I mean, so it's like first step. So if you screw up on something, they're like, nope, can't show that anymore, can't do anything. You're like, okay, well, dang. It's not like we're showing like us killing turkeys or anything because we don't show any of that. It's like we try to show more, natural stuff, management stuff. This is what's going on with the
Yeah.
science. We may do a survey, and so I'm like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, it is what it is, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm rooting for you guys, and I'll be watching, and when this comes out, this episode airs, I'll direct people to you. I mean, the
Sweet.
our other biggest platform is our little Instagram account, which has 1/3 as many followers as yours, but I'll at least put out something there and
Oh man,
direct people to you. And I love what you're doing, and I'm a researcher myself, and I think that knowledge is power, and you guys are trying to generate knowledge to help protect turkeys, and that seems like a good deal to me. So I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you taking the time to tell me what you're up to.
yeah, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the opportunity. Good talking with you, man. And if you were here, we'd drink some bourbon right now and tell a story.
All right, good deal. I noticed you didn't say
Awesome,
you'd
brother.
take me to your turkey spot, but
Hey, if I got an extra one, man, we can sit down and make it happen. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But then you got to exchange, right? It's like, well, hey, you need to come out here
you
and
come
chase one of
out
these
anytime.
crazy
I'll come there
birds,
and drink
man.
bourbon, and you can come out here and hunt turkeys. It's fine with
Hey,
me.
you know what? That's a deal, man. We got this official. This is the clip we'll play right here.
All right, Jason, thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Thanks, brother.
All
Appreciate
right,
you, man.
bye.